Taiwan strengthens defenses against China's infiltration. Zeng Guo-Cheng defends Huang Zi-Jiao amid controversy. Tianhou Banmei offers 5 million NT startup fund to Andy. Trump threatens 200% tariff on EU wine and liquor. Philippine ex-president Duterte face murder charges at ICC. Captain arrested after cargo ship crash in North Sea. Dalai Lama says his successor to be born outside China. Saudi investment fund pays $3.5 billion to capture Pokémon Go.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Friday, March 14th, White Day, and here are your top stories. And for today's Taiwan news, President Lai Ching-te warned that China exploits Taiwan's democracy to infiltrate and divide society, declaring it a hostile external force. In response, he announced 17 measures, including restoring military trials, stricter identity checks for officials, enforcing residency rules for Hong Kong and Macau residents, and regulating entertainers working in China. Additional steps include tightening oversight of retired military personnel and enhancing national security laws. Huang Zhijiao, sentenced to 8 months for sexual harassment and possessing videos of minors, was spotted with his family, sparking debate.曾国Chen defended him, saying Huang has made significant contributions to the entertainment industry. His comments led to online backlash, prompting a late-night apology. During a live stream, influencer Tianhou Banmei promised to give YouTuber Andy a $5 million startup fund to support his future endeavors. This generous offer comes after Andy's emotional video about his struggles following a breakup, which has garnered widespread attention and support. And in global news, President Donald Trump threatened Thursday to impose 200% tariffs on alcohol from the European Union in response to the region's retaliatory 50% tariff on U.S. whiskey, further escalating tensions between the two longtime trading partners. Trump also sharpened his rhetoric toward the EU, which has been one of the closest U.S. allies for decades. The U.S. remains the world's largest importer of both wine and champagne, with the former comprising $4.9 billion in annual sales and the latter more than $1.7 billion.
Meanwhile, U.S. exports of wine rank fifth among all nations at about $1 billion, but champagne and sparkling wine total just $67 million, placing it 12th in the world. If this tariff is not removed immediately, the U.S. will shortly place a 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, and alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU-represented countries. This will be great for the wine and champagne businesses in the U.S. A spokesperson for the European Commission said the region's trade minister has already contacted his American counterparts and that calls are being prepared. The impact of the tit-for-tat tariffs could weigh more heavily on U.S. consumers, who depend on imports of these goods, than on manufacturers.
A plane carrying former Philippine leader Rodrigo Duterte to the ICC to face charges over his bloody war on drugs took off for Rotterdam on Wednesday after being delayed for a few hours during a layover in Dubai. Duterte, who led the Philippines from 2016 to 2022, was arrested early Tuesday in Manila, marking the biggest step yet in the ICC's investigation into alleged crimes against humanity during an anti-drug crackdown that killed thousands and drew condemnation worldwide.
What is the law and what is the crime that I committed?
Duterte could become the first Asian former head of state to go on trial at the ICC in The Hague. The ICC's warrant for his arrest states that, as president, Duterte created, funded, and armed death squads in his war on drugs that carried out murders of purported drug users and dealers. Prosecutors accuse him of crimes against humanity for systematic attacks that led to dozens of murders. Duterte received medical attention during the layover in Dubai, with police doctors checking on him as he lay on an airplane bed. A spokesperson for the Philippine National Police said the medical checks were routine, describing them as regular vital signs and monitoring.
The captain of a cargo ship that collided with the U.S. tanker is a Russian national who remains in British police custody. The 59-year-old man, whose name has not been released by authorities, was arrested by police in northeast England on Tuesday on suspicion of manslaughter by gross negligence over the collision. He has not been charged. Shipping company Erdis Russ, which owns the Portugal-flagged cargo vessel So Long, said the ship's 14 crew members were a mix of Russian and Filipino nationals.
Port inspection documents show that the So Long failed steering-related safety checks in Dublin, Ireland, in July, with the vessel's emergency steering position communications, compass reading, deemed unreadable. Inspectors found a total of 10 deficiencies, including inadequate alarms, survival craft not properly maintained, and fire doors not as required. The collision caused jet fuel to spill into the sea, raising fears of significant environmental damage. Environmentalists warned that oil and chemicals posed a risk to marine life, including whales and dolphins, as well as to coastal birds such as puffins, gannets, and guillemots.
The Dalai Lama says in a new book that his successor will be born outside China, raising the stakes in a dispute with Beijing over the control of the Himalaya region he fled more than 6 decades ago. Tibetans worldwide want the institution of the Dalai Lama to continue after the 89-year-old's death. He writes in Voice for the Voiceless. He had previously suggested that the line of spiritual leaders might end with him. His book marks the first time the Dalai Lama has specified that his successor would be born in the free world, which he describes as outside China.
He had previously said only that he could reincarnate outside Tibet, possibly in India, where he lives in exile. The Dalai Lama writes, since the purpose of a reincarnation is to carry on the work of the predecessor, the new Dalai Lama will be born in the free world so that the traditional mission of the Dalai Lama, that is, to be the voice for universal compassion, the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism, and the symbol of Tibet embodying the aspirations of the Tibetan people, will continue. Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama, fled to India at the age of 23 with thousands of other Tibetans in 1959 after a failed uprising against the rule of Mao Zedong's communists.
Saudi Arabia's public investment fund will pay $3.5 billion to buy the gaming division of developer Niantic, whose titles include the hit mobile game Pokémon Go. The game involves players walking around in the real world to hunt collectible creatures, which appear on their phone screens using augmented reality. Despite launching almost a decade ago, Pokémon Go is still among the highest-grossing mobile games in the world, with 30 million monthly players.
The deal marks the latest step by Saudi Arabia to develop its gaming industry, which it has spent billions of pounds on in recent years. Niantic's other games, such as Monster Hunter Now and Pikmin Bloom, are also included in the acquisition. They will become part of Scopely Inc., which itself was bought by PIF subsidiary Savvy Games Group for $4.9 billion in 2023. Scopely is one of the biggest names in mobile gaming, with its most successful title, Monopoly Go, being downloaded more than 50 million times and generating more than $3 billion in revenue. Pokémon itself is jointly owned by Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures, which licensed the brand to Niantic so it could develop the game.
The answer for yesterday was B, cooperative. The team was very cooperative, always willing to share ideas and support each other during the project. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into today's news. Trump threatens 200% tariff on EU wine and liquor. Number 1, escalate. 升级恶化. The argument between the two colleagues quickly escalated into a shouting match. Number 2, comprise. 包含构成. The committee comprises members from all departments of the company. Number 3, counterpart. 对应的人或物. The CEO met with her counterpart in the European office to discuss the new project. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section, and the correct answer will be announced next week. In those countries where Valentine's Day is observed by women giving gifts of chocolate to those they love, White Day is the day they get the return on that investment. In 1978, the Japanese National Confection Industry Association helped to promote the idea of an answer day for Valentine's Day. In Japan, it was tradition that only women would give gifts of chocolate on Valentine's Day, and so they decided that there needed to be a day where men showed their appreciation by returning it. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host, and I will see you next time.